Going to do some astrology in review today, since I'm a couple days late on posting about the August 11th astrology that was going on, and I still want to touch a little bit more on the astrology from the full moon August 9th as well. So August 11th, like all of this month, configuration in the sky with several significant astrological events. It is a time period that we are in of growth, influencing by the stationing direct of Mercury. That was one of the things that happened August 11th, so 2 days ago. A rare sextile between Saturn and Uranus, and an equally rare conjunction of Venus and Jupiter. So these are all big things that we are going to dive into, as well as a couple other little things. Okay, so on August 11th, we had Mercury station direct. So this shift, of course, marks the end of its retrograde period, which is often associated with miscommunication, mishaps, technological glitches, and reevaluations of everything pretty much, but mostly anything related to our communication, our work and commerce things. And now as Mercury moves forward, not only should people who are ruled by Mercury, so Gemini and Virgo, have a renewal in their energy and their energy be picking up, but we also should have more clarity in thought and expression be restored, making it an opportune time to finalize any plans that were up in the air, sign contracts, and engage in any important discussions now that it's direct. So expect an easing in frustrations related to delays and misunderstandings, if there were delays or problems with travel or anything like that. That should be smoothing now. So there should be more smooth progress in your daily affairs. So wherever this Mercury retrograde fell in your natal chart, your birth chart, you should see things start to pick up and be more clear and have more clarity in those areas of your life as well. However, just a caution, we aren't out of the post-retrograde shadow period yet. So Mercury on the 11th, when it stationed direct, was at about 4 degrees of Leo, and it won't be out of its shadow until August 25th, when it goes past 15 degrees of Leo. That's when it's stationed retrograde. So if there's any conversations or issues that are coming up between now and August 25th that seem like they are kind of echoes or repeating things from around June 30th until now, then it's your chance to really rework through those things so you can come up with an actual solution to them and not have to be on the spiral of whatever is coming up for you again. So it's like it's a last chance to get it right type energy for anything that is repeating like that for you. So the other thing that we had going on August 11th is the Saturn and Aries Sextile Uranus and Gemini. Now, this is a pretty rare conversation between these planets, and it'll be with us within a 3-degree orb, this sextile. It'll be kind of floating behind the background. It was exact on August 11th, but it'll be kind of floating in the background until February of 2026 within a 3-degree orb. So Saturn in Aries, which is a fire sign, with a cardinal fire sign, is promoting like discipline. It's a pioneering spirit. It's self-assertion. Whereas Uranus in Gemini, which is a mutable air sign, is calling for innovation, freedom, and intellectual curiosity. So This sextile is encouraging integrating new progressive ideas with established systems. So for individuals, this could manifest as finding practical ways to implement revolutionary changes or discovering disciplined approaches to express unique concepts. And it's a favorable time for breaking free from old patterns in a constructive manner, fostering both personal and societal or collective evolution. So this alignment could also influence fields like technology, education, and social movements, bringing about structured breakthroughs and innovative solutions. So that's all pretty awesome. Now, the cycle of this transit happens in cycles of every 28 to 30 years. It's either every 28 to 30 years or every 469 years in each sign. So, but overall, it happens about either every 15 years or every 30 years if we're considering all the signs that these two planets, Saturn and Uranus, can meet up in, have sextiles in. But having them in Aries and Gemini happens either every 28, 30 years or 469. It's kind of an interesting pattern just based on their elliptical in the sky. So it is pretty rare. It's something that we will only experience probably once or twice maybe in our lifetime. Between 2025 and 2026, these planets will be exact 3 times. The first happened April 4th at 24 degrees of Pisces and Taurus. So Saturn was in Pisces and Uranus was in Taurus. The second is happened August 11th at 1 degree of Aries and Gemini. And the last will happen again January 20th at 27 degrees of Pisces and Taurus again, when both Uranus and Saturn are retrograde. Well, they're going to be stationed direct again, but they will have retrograded back into those signs for a short little bit. So I just kind of wanted to give the history of how rare this sextile is before kind of diving into how I'm feeling about it. So I feel like the going back and forth between Pisces and Taurus and Aries and Gemini is significant. I feel like the sextile with Pisces and Taurus is asking us to look at where our resources and values, Taurus, need shaken up with Uranus to align better with our spirituality, higher selves, etc. in Pisces. Also, I feel like it's a breakdown, Uranus, of the religious systems, which would be Saturn and Pisces, and a recognition of how many religious institutions have been created for power, control, and fear, rather than liberation and teaching us how to develop our personal relationships with God, Spirit, Christ consciousness, Jesus, whatever. They've been built more based on power and control. And then Saturn retrograde in Aries, sextile Uranus and Gemini, moving forward, gives us an idea of where this technological revolution that we're in the middle of has the potential to go. That's the Uranus and Gemini piece. The leaders at play, both Saturn and Aries, kind of represent leaders and things like that. And then and warrior spirit. Saturn is definitely the leaders. Aries is the individual, but also the warrior and things like that. So leaders going to war, and which we're clearly, seeing. And So giving us an opportunity to really evaluate who and what we want to give power to, which is kind of the Saturn retrograde in Aries. Like the retrograde is kind of more of an internal. So it's like, okay, we've given power to this individual. Are we happy with that decision and what they're doing, and who they are? So then we'll be given the chance to go back into the Pisces Taurus sextile energy with these two planets to finalize their transits through those signs, which will give us a last chance to shake up anything else that needs to come to light. So Pisces keeps things hidden, right? So we're going back to bring more truths to the surface. And again, Saturn is power structures, so a chance to reevaluate that. And Uranus in Taurus would be the sudden ideas, insights, changes, and shakeups to our resources, our values, our food systems. So think banking, agriculture, and perhaps who has control over those. So we'll get a chance to kind of reevaluate what we're thinking and make any last changes. So that's what it can kind of suggest on more of a global level, but you'll also see similar themes on a personal level. So for more details on how this would be affecting you personally, you would want to look at what houses these are activating for you. So you'd want to look at Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, and what houses those fall in for you, and you'll have a better indication of the areas of your life that are being called for you to focus on within this energy kind of structure. So then also, the more I'm learning about astrology, the more I'm learning that, traditionally we've thought of things like certain aspects like sextiles and trines as beneficial, squares and oppositions as like harder aspects. And then we've thought of, Venus and Jupiter as benefic planets and Saturn and Mars as malefic planets. And the more I'm diving into astrology, the more I'm kind of questioning the way we look at those things. Because I think it's generally true within our own lives, but when we look at what's going on in a collective, I think sometimes it might be quite the opposite. So like on a collective level, the powers that be that want to keep power will be utilizing these sextiles and harmonious aspects against us, right? So that's why it's important, I feel like, for us to understand as individuals the astrology as well, so we know what energy they're working with to keep us in check, so to speak. Because if we have the same knowledge that they do, because you can bet your butt that they are using astrology. If not them, then their advisors are. Then we can utilize that to our advantage and not be so easily controlled and manipulated like we have been for way too long. So they'll be looking at it from the opposite. And as sextiles are energies that flow easily but are subtle, you have to actively engage with them to make the most of them. So individually, because that's really where all change starts, is individual, changing ourselves first, we should work with these sextiles, the Saturn Uranus sextile within our own chart, to best move us forward and raise our vibration, but also in the back of our minds to think about it on a collective level as well, and to make sure that we aren't being just passive sheep to whatever agendas they have that they're trying to use this energy for as well. So it really is that there's a spiritual war going on out there, and it's easier to play the game if you know the plays that are or can be made on both sides. And these outer planets and what's going on with them are really what drives those more collective shifts and power grabs that the elites, the cabal, the people who want one world government, one world order, all this stuff that they are going to be using. So if we know the energies that they're trying to use against us, it'll be easier for us to kind of combat that. So the other very beautiful energy going on that was exact on August 11th, so 2 days ago, but the energy is still very much active, is the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. While it's not rare in the sense that a conjunction between these two planets does happen every year, it only happens in each sign once every 12 years and occasionally only once every 24 years. And we are in one of those 24-year cycles. And so we haven't had a conjunction of these two in Cancer since August of 2001 and June of 2002. The one before that was in May 1978. So, and like 2001 and 2002, we'll have two right in a row. So we'll have this conjunction now and then another one again in June of next year, 2026. And then the next one after that won't be until 2037. So it is kind of rare in that sense. And conjunctions amplify the energies of the planets involved. And in Cancer, their influence is deeply emotional and nurturing. That is what Cancer is all about. So Venus in Cancer is a water cardinal sign. It's all about love, relationships, values, comfort, and security. And then Jupiter in Cancer, which is also, water cardinal, because they're both in Cancer, is expansion, good fortune, optimism, and wisdom. So, Jupiter expands things. Venus represents our finances, our relationships, things like that. So this gives opportunities for those things to flourish and grow. Cancer is our comfort, our homes, real estate, things like that. So there could be opportunities for expansion in those areas. On a collective level, it is like borders and, homelands and things like that. But on a personal level, it would be your personal home, your personal real estate, your finances. With Jupiter, it could be education, finding mentors, spirituality, things like that with these two conjunct. So just, this is the benefics, the great benefics coming together to just expand joyful, great, beneficial things for us, bring us lots of abundance in love and relationships. So, this alignment brings immense potential for growth and abundance in matters of the heart, home, and personal well-being. It fosters a nurturing and compassionate atmosphere, encouraging emotional generosity and strong family bonds. It's an excellent time for enhancing relationships, expanding one's home life, and finding comfort and security in one's surroundings. Financial prosperity linked to the home or family matters may also be highlighted, like I said. And this conjunction can inspire a profound sense of gratitude and well-being. So if you are somebody that struggles with practicing an attitude of gratitude, now's your chance to try to really hone that in, because it really can be life-changing. And so then this promotes a spirit of more giving and receiving, right? So then to figure out how this would impact you more personally, because Venus is a more personal planet, you would want to look at what house this is happening in for you, and what houses Venus and Jupiter rule for you, as that's where you may find abundance, growth, and harmony in these areas of your life. So to get some clues, you can look back to about August of 2001 and June of 2002 to get specific about what might have been going on, or for a more general sense of what luck and abundance and like repeating kind of patterns might have been going on, or what this could bring. Look back at about April of 2001 through July of 2002. That would give you a good idea, because that's the time frame that Jupiter and Venus were going through these signs. So for me personally, 2001 to 2002 was a crazy time for me and one of my busiest, which is making me a little nervous, because Jupiter was in my 6th house of daily habits and routines and work. So expanding those things. So I was very busy at work. It was one of my busiest times. I was going to school full time. Clearly had homework to do and studying to do as well. My ex-husband and I owned a business together. I was doing the accounting for him. Plus I was working for an oral surgeon and a doggy daycare. So I was doing like all the things and so busy. Plus we bought a house. And just after, so July of 2002, we got engaged August of 2002, so just outside that window. So there was so much going on. And looking back at the astrology of that time period and looking at what houses Jupiter and Taurus and Jupiter and Venus rule and things like that, looking at what those rule in my chart, as well as knowing that this was in my 6th house of daily habits, routines, and work, you can clearly see why I was so busy and everything. So if you'd like me to do a video going over like my specific chart and how, looking back to 2001 to 2002, how the astrology affected that area of my life, to get an idea of how you may be able to then translate looking back in the rearview mirror to your life, so you can get a better idea of what might be going on for you this time around, and what either you're hoping echoes in a similar manner, or maybe what you're hoping to change. Like, I'm hoping to not be quite as busy. I'm hoping that Jupiter is a little bit softer and brings more abundance rather than just more work. But yeah, if you'd like me to do a video kind of looking in hindsight at how that Jupiter-Venus conjunction in 2001 and 2002 affected me personally, and kind of walk through that to give you an idea of how you could do the same for your own chart, then certainly let me know. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was just kind of going over some of the full moon energy that was going on the 9th. So we had Mars in Libra opposite Neptune in Aries. And so this is the first of 9 yearly transits. I just kind of wanted to focus on how rare everything that's going on in the sky is, and highlight what a time it is that we are in. So Mars in Libra opposite Neptune in Aries is the first of 9 yearly transits that we're going to have. The last time we had these transits was between 1863 to 1874, which was when the Civil War was going on. And the next will be in the year 2190. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Mars in Libra was also trine Uranus and Gemini. The last time that happened was 1942 to 1946, which was when the World War II was going on, and we will have 7 of the Mars and Libra trine Uranus and Gemini, be 7 of those transits between now and 2032. And then there won't be any until 2109. And then Mars in Libra trine Pluto in Aquarius. So this is the first of 12 of those conversations between now and the year 2042. The next will be in the year 2172. And the last was in 1777 to 1797. And clearly this was a time period in which our country was changing as well. So we are in USA's Pluto return, and, you know, just going through that for the next 20 years. So all of that to keep in mind. And then the Saturn conjunct Neptune in Aries. The last one of that, which I talked about in my last video, was 1703, and the next won't be until after the year 2500. I can't see, the search engines don't go far enough into the future to see when the next one of those in Aries will be. There's only been, so this is definitely the more rare of these conjunctions. Most of these other ones, you know, there's several hundred, like on the search engine, there's, you know, many pages to go through. The Saturn conjunct Neptune in Aries, between 500 BC and now, there's only been, this is either the 5th or 6th one. So, but looking back to the last one in 1703 in America, specifically, there was the Queen Anne's War. It was one name. Each region called it something different, but Queen Anne's War happening in America between France, Great Britain, and Spain over several territories between Florida, you know, and along the East Coast. Also, there were notable hurricanes, earthquakes, and fires going on around the world. And so this conjunction will be within a 10-degree orb until about July of next year. So we are traveling with this energy for a while. I really recommend watching my last video about talking about what I kind of believe and what I have been receiving this Saturn conjunct Neptune means for us individually, like really learning how to manifest. And I also go into kind of the similar thoughts of how, you know, how the elites can use the astrology kind of against us to keep us in power. But if we know what's going on and if we know what their plays are going to be, we'll have a better chance of getting what is actually best for us instead of just going along with what is best for them. So in conclusion, the astrological landscape and the current times overall offer us a dynamic blend of opportunity for clarity, innovative progress, and emotional fulfillment, especially with the Jupiter-Venus conjunction. You're encouraged to embrace the forward momentum of Mercury while it is direct and leverage the rare synergy of Saturn and Uranus and all that's going on for constructive change in your own life and self-growth, because again, mastering ourselves and understanding ourselves is really where we are going to be able to make the most change in the world. When we know and understand our sovereignty, that makes it less likely that and less easy that we will be able to be controlled and deceived and all those types of things. So again, comment below if you want me to kind of go over how Jupiter-Venus conjunction in particularly affected my chart from 2001 to 2002, what the differences might be this go round, to give you an idea of how to do the same in your charts, or just what other videos you would like to see from me, what you're enjoying. And check the link in the descriptions below for the current offers I have. I do have a wait list for a beginner's astrology course going on, as well as I am opening up a Patreon membership where each month I'm going to focus on a different area, a different topic of a natal chart reading, and give everyone who's in there like a 20-minute natal chart reading. So it's like an affordable monthly subscription where you can get, a different aspect of your natal chart read every month. And then we might go over current transits in there as well. I haven't decided really what else I want to throw in there besides that, but definitely it would be a monthly 20-minute birth chart reading on a different topic each month. So I'd love to see you there. Link in the description below. And I hope you continue to have a great month. Until next time. Bye.